Good afternoon. This is the Westchester Weekly Update. I'm Ken Jenkins, Deputy County Executive. County Executive Latimer is out of the county today, as he mentioned, for the past 2 weeks, and hopefully enjoying some time away. But you know him, he's really working hard, making sure Westchester is getting business taken care of. We have today our municipal partner from the village of Pleasantville, Mayor Pete Shearer, who'll be with us momentarily. We'll have some conversation with an exciting new app that's coming from our Office for People with Disabilities. We'll also talk a little bit about a new law that is implemented as of today, August 15th, 2022, regarding flooding. That's extremely important. It's going to be helpful for many individuals that are in flood-prone areas to be able to get better information. We certainly will talk a little bit about monkeypox and our COVID vaccinations. Talk some more about our parks situation last week. The place I was at was cooler than it was here when we were going through the heat wave last week. And we'll talk about our next airport meeting and anything else that we have coming up in the following week. We've had our municipal partners that have been here with us, the 45 municipalities in Westchester County. Each one of them has a very different story, things to tell. Specifically, the village of Pleasantville. Mayor Pete Shearer will be able to talk to us a little bit more about the things that are going on there in Pleasantville. But Pleasantville is an outstanding community. 1697 was first incorporated. Then when it got to be a village itself with its own municipal powers, in the 1800s, late 1800s there. 7,500 people approximately live in the village of Pleasantville. They've had an outstanding music festival that just completed in July. They have the Jacob Burns Film Center, and so many people recognize it from its iconic Reader's Digest profile. As you drive along the Sawmill River Parkway, most people realize that Reader's Digest's original home was in the village of Pleasantville. So they have a municipal government that has 4 trustees and the mayor, and they are on 3-year terms. It's an exciting place to be, whether you go downtown or whether you walk in their areas and have some outstanding dining, or participate in Jacob Burns or anything else that they have going on in the village. So with that, we're going to bring up our municipal partner, Mayor Peter Shearer. Mayor.
Thank you, Ken Jenkins. It's my pleasure to be here, and not only to shine a little bit of a light on what goes on in Pleasantville, New York, but also to honor what has really been a remarkable partnership, as Ken already alluded to, with George Latimer, Ken Jenkins, the entire crew here at Westchester County. I have been the mayor of Pleasantville now. I'm in year 14, and I can say with certainty what you perhaps already know, that the last few years have raised the bar for all of us in terms of the kind of partnership we needed in order to serve our community in a time of COVID, in a time of extreme weather. And the folks here in White Plains have been with us every single step of the way, and at a level that I haven't seen before in my many years involved in local government. So thank you, Ken. Thank you to George in absentia, and thanks to everybody who's a part of this county team. This county of now 1 million people just edged over that in the census. Pleasantville represents a pretty small piece of that. As Ken already mentioned, our census numbers are about 7,500. There are a whole lot more people that have Pleasantville addresses and think of Pleasantville as the center of their activities. And with good reason, I might say. We're blessed to be pretty much smack dab in the center of Westchester County. I like to think of us as being the magnetic center of everything, which is a little hyperbolic, but I get to do that as the mayor. We have a train station, we have a downtown, we have opportunities to live downtown, to work downtown, to commute from downtown, to go to all kinds of artistic things downtown. And in the realm around that, in our a little less than 2 square miles, lots of places to live in varying kinds of settings, from apartments to multifamily homes to single-family homes, an awful lot of them in a location that allows you to walk to school, walk to town, walk to train, walk to the library, walk to places of worship. So I like to think in some ways everything old is new again. The sort of reasons that Pleasantville developed over a long period of time in a less mobile world are still the reasons lots of people want to come to Pleasantville and live there, because amid the many advantages of technology, there is no advantage more important than the chance to participate in the life of a community, the life of a downtown, the life of a neighborhood. And I can say, having lived in a few places before my 35-year gig as a Pleasantville resident, no place I've ever lived has offered that range of options to me. So, as Ken already mentioned, we're pretty proud of our reputation as a place with lots of restaurants, a place with lots of businesses, but very clearly as a place that's a real center for the arts. The Jacob Burns Film Center, 5-screen Fine Arts Film Center, right in our downtown is, I think, arguably one of the strongest fine arts film centers anywhere in the United States outside of a major city. They have a media arts lab just a block away, where on any given day you might find a bunch of young kids working on a soundstage, and the next day you might find somebody whose name is well-known nationwide or internationally. So all that's going on in Pleasantville, New York. We have the home of the Gordon Parks Foundation and Gallery at 48 Wheeler Avenue, the entire life's work of the documentary photographer Gordon Parks, certainly a towering figure in the history of photography and the leading black photographer of the 20th century. His entire life's work is in the archive there, and they have a series of ongoing exhibitions, some of Parks' work, some of work related to Parks, and some work done by Gordon Parks Fellows who are engaged on an annual basis. So a small gallery, but a very, very big thing for Pleasantville. And just down the street from that, we have ARC Stages with running equity professional shows, community stage shows, and educational stage shows. And around all of that, we have Orchestra 911, we have the Pleasantville Chamber Music Society, we have various artistic activities. We have a new group working on a hoped-for downtown mural. So it's an exciting time for the arts in Pleasantville, New York. And I might add, as Ken already mentioned, we do an annual music festival. I say annual because the last 2 years COVID got in our way, and so we called it the 16th annual. Had that not intervened, it would have been the 18th annual, but an extraordinary event. Some thousands of people descend upon Parkway Field in Pleasantville, New York for this year, 18 bands in 3 different stages. A shout out to our neighborhood healthcare providers from Northwell Health. Northwell signed on as a presenting sponsor for this year's music festival. So a really, really, really great day. I can tell you that on an annual basis, I say this is way too big for this small town to do, but it's way too good not to do it. So we're going to keep at it. And then lastly, I encourage you right in this summertime phase of August to get yourself to Pleasantville, New York, right downtown on a Saturday morning from 8:30 to 1 to our farm market. Quite a few years running, voted the best in Westchester, and really an extraordinary gathering of local food vendors, local farms, driving a lot of activity in our downtown and providing a lot of opportunity for folks to get great food, and while they're at it, to hang out a little bit and hear some great music and participate in kids' activities. So PleasantvilleFarmMarket.org is where you're going to find all about it. PleasantvilleMusicFestival.com is where you're going to find all about that. And Pleasantville-ny.gov is probably a less exciting site than the previous 2, but nonetheless the hub for what goes on in government. So again, a shout out to Ken, to George, to everybody here at the county. I can't say enough about the level of support that has existed here between the municipalities and the county across party lines. That's had absolutely no role in any of this. We've been all in this together. So thank you, Ken.
Man, thank you so much. That was the great mayor of 5-term, in the middle of his 5th term, the mayor of the village of Pleasantville, Peter Shearer. And again, just want to echo the shout out back to you that it's been a great partnership. As county executive, Latimer has said for all of us in our administration that the work is as siblings, as brothers and sisters, and that's part of the reason that we've been able to have such a great relationship with villages like Pleasantville, but with all of our municipal partners to ensure that we have that kind of camaraderie to make sure that we're moving Westchester forward. Congratulations on the outstanding film festival, and make sure you get to that farmers market. The farmers market is outstanding. 8 to 1, I just want to make sure the time was right.
8:30 to 1.
8:30 to 1, but you can get some outstanding locally sourced things that are at the farmers market, and it is fantastic. I know that being able to walk downtown, I have this tendency to love popcorn wherever it happens to be. And at the Jacob Burns Film Center, you don't have to be a member to go in and stop and have popcorn, but it's an absolute joy to have that kind of facility in Westchester and bringing in the kind of talent. The mayor was just being a little shy because he has had Oscar award-winning folks that have come down to produce, to show new works that they're doing, and some of those are even Westchester residents because we have quite a few of those as well. So again, best of luck in the village, Mayor, and again, continued partnership, and looking forward to the continued outstanding great work from the village of Pleasantville. So thank you so much. As we had talked about and teased a little bit earlier, talking and switching gears for a minute, our Office with People with Disabilities. One of the inflation fighting measures that County Executive Latimer has laid out was an opportunity to have free bus transportation from June until September 6th, which is right after Labor Day. So right after Labor Day, free transportation. That includes our outstanding paratransit system. Some people were surprised that we included that. You shouldn't be. That's the kind of things and thoughts that we have for every member of our riding public, whether that person needs paratransit or whether they are riding the Beeline system at all. We make sure that everyone has those same opportunities. So here today, the Beeline paratransit app is going to go live tomorrow, Tuesday the 16th. If you wish to continue to use the regular paratransit number, you may continue to do so, but you now have this new exciting electronic option. And with that, I'm going to ask the director of our Office for People with Disabilities, Evan Latana, and the transit analyst extraordinaire, Tim Fields, to come up and give us a few words and talk to us a few more minutes about the app itself and how things are going. So Evan, come on up. Tim, right, come right here.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Evan Latana. I'm director for the Office for People with Disabilities. Standing to my left is Tim Fields, our transit analyst, and he's the supervisor for the reservation office for paratransit. Just wanted to thank the county executive and also the deputy county executive and the administration for giving us this opportunity to provide our ridership with a new updated software which would provide a mobile app which our riders can download at the Google Store or the iTunes, the Apple Store, which will provide ridership with the opportunity to book their trips online. The app will also allow riders to track their trips with their vans or vehicles live to see where they are, and also to provide myself and Tim with comments, whether there's positives about their trips or any problems that they might experience. Also, the addition with this app will allow our riders to receive a phone call or a text message 10 minutes before the actual vehicle arrives, so it will improve their ability to be ready for the trip. The goal for this app will also allow for better on-time performance for our vehicles and provide opportunities for our vendors, Suburban Paratransit and our Car Service Act Now, to move vehicles to pick riders up in a more timely fashion. So with that, I'd just like to thank everybody. Again, thank you to Ken and the administration for giving us this opportunity. And please feel free to call myself at 914-995-2958 or Tim Fields at 914-995-2874 with any questions, concerns, or any comments that you might have. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tim. So that was Evan Latana and Tim Fields from our Office with People with Disabilities. Tim is a transit analyst, and again, we want to thank them because there are hundreds of phone calls that they field every day for those folks that utilize the paratransit system. You need to ensure that you get you apply for and get approved for paratransit. It's not something you could just pick up and just do without going through the process. of the paratransit system. So again, the app will be live. You can download it on Google Play or the App Store on iOS for Apple devices. But you should call the office 995-2874, 914-995-2874, first to make sure that you apply appropriately for paratransit services, as well as to get any additional information and instructions regarding the app. Turning now to a law that has just been implemented today on August 15th. Many communities in Westchester County have a long history of dealing with some serious flooding issues and the serious impacts of those flooding issues after those large storms, many requiring serious, that have had serious property damage or even loss of life. Because of climate change, these storms are becoming more frequent and devastating. Oftentimes, prospective tenants in flood-prone areas are left in the dark when it comes to the propensity of flooding of the property that they are trying to rent or looking to rent or are actually renting. To combat this, Westchester County has adopted legislation which requires those looking to rent property to provide a flood history form to any and all prospective tenants. Again, this law goes into effect today, August 15th, and we're getting ready to go through what we've had in our system in hurricane season. The last few storms over the last past years have happened in the middle of August, the beginning of September, with those significant storms, and again, there was loss of life in those particular floods. So all properties are subject to flooding. So we shouldn't think that it's like in one area versus another, but in Westchester County, there are some areas that are in lower lying areas, and flood insurance rates are prepared by FEMA, our Federal Emergency Management Agency. They show the relative risk associated with different areas of communities, from areas of low risk, or people that may be in special flood hazard areas, commonly referred to as that 100-year floodplain. And as we mentioned earlier, due to climate change and climate activities, those 100-year storms have seemed to be coming up more frequently. Some have said every year. However, about 40% of all flood insurance claims come from areas that are outside of those areas in those 100-year flood zones. So renters are often overlooked when discussing those impacts from flooding. And quite honestly, it's a good way to have transparency when you're renting a particular property. Because it has flooded in the past does not mean it's going to necessarily flood in the future. But if you know that when you're walking in the door, you may make some modifications in the kind of things that you do and the things that the landlord may provide, especially in those kind of areas. Most times, a landlord's property insurance will not cover the renter's personal belongings, and many renters don't have insurance on their own. So again, with this kind of information, you may choose, and you should choose, to have either a renter's insurance to protect your own personal property, because the landlord's protecting their property insurance through their insurance, but you may also have people in your family that have specific healthcare needs that require electric-powered medical equipment or may have mobility issues, making it difficult to relocate quickly during an emergency. Our Office of Emergency Services, Department of Emergency Services, has a service where we take a list of those individuals prior to that situation occurring, so that we will have information to be able to quickly locate and be able to evacuate those individuals that are in those special conditions. Con Edison and NYSEG both have this particular service as well for those folks that have specific mental health needs for medical equipment that's either electrically operated or needs power to continue to operate, because they definitely want to be able to get to those people as quickly as possible in the event that there's a loss of power in a specific area, and that could be due to flooding or anything else, but they want to make sure to do that. So take advantage of this. The Board of Legislators proposed, and County Executive Latimer signed this local law, Chapter 581, to help inform and protect renters about the potential impacts from flood damage and what they can do to protect themselves. And again, this information is more for the renters to be able to make appropriate decisions and changes and modifications. More importantly, in the case that you're in an area that has is a flood-prone area, to protect your personal belongings, to make sure that you get that renter's insurance. And if you have any questions about the form or the law, you're encouraged to reach out to the county planning department who is managing this particular program, and that is at 914-995-4400, so 4400. You can also get additional information on the county planning's website at planning.westchestergov.com/flood. And I know the crack team has that scrolling across the screen so you can keep track of that information. We always wanted to talk about the reasons we started these conference and briefings was because of the COVID pandemic. And again, COVID is not controlling the things that we're doing. We're trying to work and live around that. And then we came up with monkeypox around that as well. So the Westchester case count for monkeypox as of today, 8/15, was 65. So 65, which was about an increase of 14 individuals that were identified with monkeypox over the last week. The Westchester County Department of Health has administered over 1,348 monkeypox vaccinations at our clinics, including at the Loft. So we had the 2 clinics that we did at the Loft, as well as our clinic at 134 Court Street. And additional vaccines have been administered through our local providers. And the County Department of Health has redistributed over 2,200 doses to 10 community partners. So we have the community partners that we're working with. Certainly we had the Loft here a couple of weeks ago when we announced the 2 clinics that we were partnering with them on. And the County Health Department is going to continue to administer those vaccines for monkeypox on Mondays and Wednesdays at the clinic at 134 Court Street and at the Loft on Thursday. You take in mind that those appointments need to be booked in advance. The ones for this week are fully booked already. So again, continue to watch. People do change. They do cancel appointments when they've gotten their vaccinations at other places. So please keep in mind to keep back and check at the county website, the Department of Health, to be able to see if an appointment has popped up. And again, we're going to continue to do these particular vaccinations Mondays and Wednesdays and continue in partnership with the friends at the Loft on Thursday. Again, you need an appointment to be able to get vaccinated under monkeypox at this particular point in time until we see the supply of vaccinations for monkeypox increase. The testing for monkeypox, just so you know, for clarification, we need to understand testing for monkeypox is done by swabbing at the rash or lesion. To be tested, the lesion must be present. So if there's not a lesion present, there is not a way to test. And the testing is now being processed in commercial labs in New York State, and the results are being returned in approximately 48 hours. These are all improvements over the initial set of circumstances with testing that was done initially that had to be sent out of state. And again, it took longer than 48 hours. All positive cases of a county resident for monkeypox are required to be reported to the Westchester County Department of Health for appropriate contact tracing. The County Health Department does that contact tracing for all the positive cases. Monkeypox is a rare viral infection that does not usually cause serious illness. However, it can result in hospitalization or in death. That's why our health officials in New York, the United States, and around the world are monitoring those cases of monkeypox in areas that do not usually report monkeypox infections, including the state of New York. So while New Yorkers should not be alarmed, everyone should stay informed about monkeypox. That means understanding the symptoms, how it spreads, and what to do if you're exposed. Again, having that information on our county website, on the health.westchestergov.com website. There are various links for monkeypox that are there to the various agencies, the federal agencies, and to some state information, as well as to the local vaccination clinics and those 10 partners in Westchester County that we've distributed the 2,200 vaccinations to. We're continuing to do for COVID vaccines. And again, for those that are interested in making sure that their children from 6 months of age, from 5-year-olds, we're doing those clinics throughout the summer as well for free vaccinations for children ages 6 months to 5 years old. And that is with the Moderna COVID-19 vaccination, for the pediatric Moderna COVID-19 vaccination, you need an appointment as well, and that is through the summer on Fridays from 9 to noon at the county clinic in White Plains at 134 Court Street. And again, for some of our younger children, especially those 6 to 5 months old, they may be going into an environment specifically for daycare that you may want to consider to have your child vaccinated for, right? You can and should do those vaccinations. There's 2 sets of vaccinations that are 28 days apart. So you're getting towards that point in time that you need to ensure that for folks that are going to school, whether that is for nursery school, whether that is in a babysitting scenario, or in regular school, elementary or high school, middle and high school, that you have those vaccinations done. And we continue to say this, every young children can get COVID-19, and unfortunately, some of them have become very sick. So we can make sure that we can protect everyone as best as possible, and we know that they're doing some different formulations for whatever next variant of the COVID-19 variants that are happening that will be coming out shortly. But if you have an opportunity to be vaccinated or boosted, whichever level that you are at, you should take advantage of that. And again, for our children, those vaccinations are going to be free for 6 months to 5 years old at our county clinic throughout the summer, right? Make sure that you get a chance to go onto the county website, look for those appointments as well. Again, health.westchestergov.com has all those information that you need to be able to set up for an appointment and to do whatever pre-screening that's necessary so that you take advantage of that time that you have in an appointment. We've been having an outstanding summer. The weather has been hot, but that means people are out and about, and that means at all of our festivals. We had 2 festivals over this past weekend. On Sunday, we had at Kensico Dam, the Indian American Heritage Festival. A couple of weekends ago on the 7th, we've had many of our festivals have completed without any reports back of any incidents from COVID. So again, taking advantage of that outside air and activities. People have been going to the pools, again, Mondays through Thursday, and another one of County Executive Latimer's inflation fighting measures, that the pools and beaches are free from Monday through Thursday at all of the county parks. That it would be Tibbetts Pool, Saxon Woods Pool, the Sprainwich Pool. Wilson Woods Pool is in a special circumstance because the Wilson Waves section is closed, but the wading pool is open, the spray deck is open, and the sliding pond is open. It's a huge sliding pond there at Wilson Woods. That's free all of the time because of the challenge with the Wilson Waves Pool not being open this summer. So again, that has an opportunity for everyone to continue Monday through Thursday for free for county residents to be able to participate. We continue to be on such an upward pace from last year. Over Tibbetts Pool, we had almost 8,300 people that were in the attendance for this past week. Saxon Woods Pool, 88, almost 8,900 people. And at the Sprainwich Pool, 2,200 approximately that attended over the past week. Right, and again, it was a brutally hot week. There was certainly heat conditions being mentioned from our county health department to make sure that people were taking advantage of that. And the pool was a great place to do that. But if you couldn't get there, you can go to Glen Island during the week. And we had about 3,000 people show up for that particular thing, which is a little bit less than 20,000 people more than last year, right, from a total basis. So we have blown through the numbers, 3 times as much, a 200% increase in people attending Glen Island Beach. Croton Point Beach, you should realize, again, that's only open on the weekend at Croton Point. And Croton Point is only open on Saturdays and Sundays because of the construction work that we have going on around the park, not at the pool, not at the beach area, but some things that we have happening there that requires us to be able to do that work, but it's open on the weekends, and some people have taken advantage of that as well. And golfers, they never stop. It doesn't matter what kind of weather it is, whether it's really cold and they got to get out the orange golf ball because it's snowing outside, or whether it's in the 90-degree weather, they make sure to hydrate appropriately and have that cool, refreshing glass of water while they're walking around the golf courses. And again, our numbers have been tremendous, and again, not as big as last year. Some, I think, is due to some of the high heat, but we've had some weather days where you just couldn't play golf at all because of the rains earlier on this week. But again, 1,700 people going to Saxon Woods, 1,500 at Spring Lake, 1,600 over at Maple Moor, Mohansick 1,500, Hudson Hills 1,000, and at Dunwoody and Yonkers 1,200. People are out there playing golf and they're getting their rounds in, and the courses look beautiful. I know that we've gone and walked through them. Neither the county executive or I are big golfers, but we want to make sure that everyone else out there that's duffers gets out there and has a great time. We know we have some individuals that go out and check the holes to make sure everything is okay, and we will really appreciate those folks that continue to provide that level of service for all of the county residents to be able to enjoy those golf courses. But our county Parks, Recreation, and Conservation has done an outstanding job at each one of over the 50 facilities that we have to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to see Westchester at its best and to be able to see all the investments that you all have made or for keeping Westchester residents safe, secure, and enjoying the great outdoors. So we have the airport public hearings. We have a set of public hearings that we are going to have to do and continue to move forward with. The next round of public hearings we're going to have are at, one is going to be in Newcastle, and one is actually going to be with our partners and friends in Greenwich, Connecticut. So on September 6th, at 6 p.m., we're going to be at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center, where we'll be able to take some more public comment and hearing from you on the airport master plan. Remembering again that it's your input and your voice that helps make a difference for the airport master plan, to get the feedback, to be able to make the modifications and challenges and adjustments that are necessary. The next set of information that people will be hearing are the technical information, and technical information, it comes from the consultant that is working on the master plan to Merchant Air that is going to be able to tell us passenger approximate counts, et cetera. Those are technical information. A lot of the things that have been happening at public hearings have been the information as you see it, as the things that you hear, whether it's utilization at the terminal, in the main terminal building, your experiences, the not experiences, you're living at home, over a flight path, around the flight path. All those things are important information to be able to create a master plan that looks into the future of Westchester County Airport. The second one is in Greenwich, and again, it's right over our dotted line. The airport has a flight path that goes over Greenwich, so that's going to be at the Harvest Time Church on King Street in Greenwich, Connecticut. That information's on the screen as well. In order to speak, you just have to sign up at those locations. We've encouraged people that they can come to one or as many public hearings as they want. You certainly can send information in online, so you can send an email with your written comments in. Those will all be taken into consideration as well. And if you'd like to come out and have your voice heard again on the matter, please do so. Again, September 6th at 6 p.m. In Chappaqua, and September 13th at 7 p.m. at Greenwich, Connecticut. We have this weekend coming up at Kensico Dam, the 46th annual Jewish Music and Arts Festival. That's at Kensico Dam on Sunday, August 21st. It's a partnership between Westchester Jewish Council and the Westchester County Parks and Recreation Conservation Group. And again, it'll be an outstanding time, again, for outstanding Jewish music and arts. Again, we've had celebrations from every cultural group that we have had in Westchester County, and we want to continue to show the diversity and the strength and the appreciation of the similarities and celebrating all the things that we can talk about as far as differences. And the music will be outstanding. And the Arts Festival, again, 46th annual event. I don't know if that count has been modified, as Mayor Scheer mentioned, for the Pleasantville Music Festival, which was 16th annual because we had to skip a couple of years of COVID. And we're going to look forward to seeing everyone at those particular events. We'll look forward to having County Executive and I back next week to have another weekly briefing on COVID, monkeypox, and all things Westchester, especially having another municipal partner with us. With that, I'm going to look at Lisa Reyes, see if there's any questions. All right. Well, if there's any questions, we can certainly reach out to our always available communications team led by Catherine Chiaffi. I saw Carolyn Fortina and Deputy Fortina, and certainly Lisa Reyes, who's here directing in the room, making sure everything is going well. So I'm Ken Jenkins, Deputy County Executive. Thank you so much for paying attention and watching us today, and have a wonderful week.